And so everything I'll share with you today will help you to declutter all of the ideas, all of the things that are kind of swirling around in your mind. So let's get started. The very first thing that I want you to do when you're trying to declutter your mind is to just begin to jot down all of the things that you're thinking of. So I try to do on a regular basis at least once a week because I'm having ideas, creative ideas all the time. So I keep either a little tiny journal in my purse or I keep one in my bed or next to my bed so that whenever ideas come to me, I just take the time and just go ahead and jot them down. There's nothing worse than being in the bed in the middle of the night or, first thing in the morning or late at night and getting an idea and not writing it down and then getting up the next day and forgetting what that idea was. And so I will not have that. I've lost several amazing ideas by being lazy, not doing that anymore. So just go ahead and write all of those ideas down. So it takes a little bit of practice, especially if you're not a journal or if it's not something that you typically do, to just get those ideas out of your head. Now, they won't all be business ideas. And so this is another way to declutter your mind. Write down just everything that comes to mind. So you may be dealing with a few things that happen throughout the day or throughout the week. If those things come to mind, go ahead and write them down. It'll get them out of your mind and it'll get them on paper. So it's kind of like your way of processing them from your mind to paper so that they're no longer in your head swirling around. The second thing that I want you to do to declutter your mind is to keep a journal. Find a journal that is your dedicated journal for those feelings, thoughts, emotions that you have daily or weekly. Spend about an hour a week. So that may mean you do 15 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day, just writing down some of the things that you remember from the week. Maybe something, stood out for you during the week. Maybe something happened, you had a client say something to you, or, anything. Write those things down. The fact that it's still on your mind, it left a mark. And so you want to begin to write that thing down and just write every other thought that follows writing that thing down. Sometimes it's the very best way to kind of process those things that happened in our lives is to get it out on paper and then your free thoughts begin to flow as you're writing. The third thing that I suggest you do is to let go of the past. If you were up for some type of project or you were trying to get a couple of clients and they said no, or whatever it is, whatever didn't go well, starting from the very moment that you see this video back, didn't go well, it didn't work, it didn't turn out the way that you wanted to, let it go. Don't keep carrying the disappointment, guilt, whatever the feeling is, don't let it go any further. Acknowledge those feelings, give them the attention that they need, and then move on. Forgive someone if you have to, and then keep going. So, the fourth thing that I want you to do to declutter your mind is to stop multitasking. Now, I'm very guilty of this. So, I sit here stepping on my own toe, as I say, to stop multitasking. But if you watched the previous video, I talked about how I work better when there's only one project in front of me, right? So if I have stacks and stacks of projects, my mind is racing. Like, I know I have to do this with that one next. I know I have to do this one. But if I only have that one project in front of me, I can only pay attention to that thing. So I don't have emails open. Nothing's going on when I'm working on one project that I need to give all of my attention to. And I've found that as I'm beginning to make it a practice, it's a really very helpful. It's not easy to do if you're, a regular multitasker, but it's worth doing it. So that's something I'd love for you to try and let me know how it helps you. The last thing that I suggest you to do is to be decisive. Now, a lot of times I hear people say, well, I just couldn't decide if I needed to do this first, or if I needed to do that first, or, if it was more important to do increasing my social media or building my brand first. So I will say this to you. The only thing that you can do to cure the indecisiveness is to make a decision. It's very simple. And I know that sounds funny or sarcastic, but become a decisive person. Now, if you're making a life or death decision, then by all means, take your time. Contemplate it, mull it over, let it swirl around for however long you need it to swirl around in your mind. But if it's something as simple as your business, and I don't mean simple in a, disregarding type of way, but something as simple as, little decisions that we make on a regular basis, just make a decision and go with that decision. You can always go back and change your mind. You can always go back and make the other decision. I always say this, done beats perfect. So make that decision, either make that mistake or make progress because you can always correct it later.